pre-launch video about the upcoming Unlock Your Sixth Sense Breakthrough Challenge. Today I'm going to cover what's actually covered in each day of the 6-day challenge. And I'm going to answer the questions you've been leaving in the comments or from IMing me directly. But first I'd like to share this. I added the word breakthrough, as in breakthrough challenge, because the goal of this challenge is to specifically get you to break through from where many of you are at now to then using your gifts for something greater. And what I mean is, you're seeing the signs. You're seeing signs like 333, 777, or 1111, right? Or you're getting premonitions that forewarn you about strange things to come. Or you're getting mysterious messages from spirit or from the other side, right? The other side. And through it all, you're wondering, what does all this mean? And I get this question asked all the time, am I really psychic? Or how do I know that I'm not just crazy? Or, is this even real? And yet deep down, there's something to this so-called sixth sense. Well, if this is the first time you're meeting me or seeing one of my videos, hi, I'm Joe Gakauskas, author of Journey of the Awakened Psychic, the 10-step guide for awakening your sixth sense. And today we'll talk about what is this something greater, right? Something greater that to help you break through to get to this something greater. Well, first, to recap, in the first video, I covered the 3 most important keys to honing and unlocking your psychic gifts. Those 3 keys are you must ground, you must clear, and you must practice, all right? And when I say practice, you must practice these tools consistently. So no practice, no access, okay? In the second video, I gave you a direct quote from Albert Einstein himself about accessing your intuitive mind, which to me, accessing your intuition and your psychic gifts is actually one and the same. And, maybe Einstein himself really was psychic. So makes you think, huh? And he says the intuitive mind, right? And here's the quote. He says, the intuitive mind is a sacred gift. The rational mind is a faithful servant. We have created a society that honors the servant and has forgotten the gift. In other words, what I discuss in this second video is that there's a huge difference between the intuitive mind and the rational mind. And think about it all you want, right? Think. But you can't access your psychic gifts with your thinking mind, as Einstein says. And I covered that if you're going like this, hand on your chin, guess what? You're not in your psychic space. Also in the second video, I left you with one key ingredient that I said I'd cover in today's video. All right, so we'll get to that all in just a second. Now, while you can do all of the above, clear, ground, practice, avoid overthinking, and literally all of the other steps covered in my book with the 10 steps, right? This 10-step guide to unlocking your sixth sense. This key ingredient that I want to talk about today, it really does make all the difference between taking years to unlock your true and highest potential with your gifts to from years to literally just taking moments. And that's not an exaggeration. Okay, I just want to let you know that it's not an exaggeration. It's really been my experience with helping literally hundreds of students personally, and the thousands of readers of my book who have decided to take on this journey of the 10 steps as outlined in my book. And it's that journey from merely seeing signs, right? Asking, what does it mean? What does it mean? But never really going beyond that stage to actually getting the answer, right? Getting the answer to what does this mean? Is all this making sense so far? In other words, many of you are just stuck at the what does it mean stage. And I'm sharing this with you now because beyond this stage, there's a whole wonderful world, and frankly, it's an exciting world that you can access once you really learn to hone your gifts. I cover these I cover these in my much more advanced programs, and the stuff I'm talking about, right, that you could actually access, stuff like past lives, or your Akashic records, or reading chakras, auras, clairvoyance, right, or seeing with your third eye, stuff like telepathy, channeling, or giving long distance healings, just to name a few. So how does all that sound? Now, that's jumping way ahead out in the future. Okay, so let's get back to the topic for today. I mentioned that there's one key ingredient that you need that means the difference between years or just moments to achieving psychic success. In order to get to the more advanced work, and in order to advance to higher levels of psychic awareness, which literally all of you watching can achieve, and I mean that, right? All of you can achieve this. Or, even just getting beyond just feeling scared, overwhelmed, frightened by your gifts now. With this key ingredient, I've seen the transformation with my own eyes for all those who have gone from, feeling lost, stuck, questioning, and overwhelmed to achieving what I believe is like scaling the highest heights of human potential. And if you're anything like me, many of you here just feel like that possibility is really achievable, right? Really achievable deep down inside you. All right, so let me dial it back, okay? I get really excited talking about this stuff. So here's that missing critical ingredient that I keep mentioning. This ingredient is what I call validation. All right? So what do I mean by validation? It's all about giving people immediate feedback. So here's an example. In my book, the very first chapter, I tell the story about Joanne. When Joanne first calls me, one of the first things she says is, "Joe, don't think I'm crazy, okay, but I see dead people." Like in the movie, I see dead people, like in that movie, The Sixth Sense. And I remember her almost crying, right? Because like literally she'd never told anyone that before. And she didn't want people thinking that she was crazy for even bringing that up, right? Because it's just not something you say. It's not just something you talk about. It's not just something that people will even understand, even if you do. And as much as she was thinking she was crazy, right, her experience was real, right? And so one of the first things I did with her was simply to validate, right, validate her experience, validate who she was, and validate that she indeed was not crazy. And that alone lifted a huge weight off of her shoulders. And she knew she wanted to pursue this work, but she just needed that validation. So, that's an example right there of instant validation versus waiting years, right? Staying stuck for years. We were just on the phone call and I was able to just validate that her experiences was real in the first place, right? And then she was able to finally move on. Another coaching client of mine, which I talk about in my book, her name is Trisha. And here's her story. I remember working with her, and I remember I was leading her through what's called an owning the room meditation, which I cover in my book. And Trisha is someone who's always, she's always been psychic her whole life, very much an empath, very much highly sensitive to other people's energies. She was sensitive to the energies in the room. She also saw spirit. And growing up, she really believed, right? She really believed she was cursed. And she was telling me stories that, she'd just be sitting there and literally like books would fly off the shelves, or that, these spirits would want to deliver messages to her and they just wouldn't leave her alone. It's like, spirit was doing all it could to get her attention somehow. So yeah, flying off books, lights turning off, all of that. The thing with having these experiences that age, she had no one to turn to, right? And even if she could turn to, like she spoke with her mom didn't understand, right? So what did her mom do? Her mom sent her to church. She prayed a lot, like a lot, right? And it didn't, no matter what she tried, right, it didn't seem to be helping. So there we were on the phone, right? I'm just coaching her through this meditation, and I'm guiding her, right? Just step by step by step. And as we started, in the middle of this guided meditation, she says, "Joe," she pauses me, right? She goes, "Joe, the door is closing by itself." Right? And there I am. I'm just listening to this, and I said, "You know what, Trish, just let's continue." Right? So I have her continue with the meditation, and I starting off with the stuff I told you about in the first video, go ahead and ground. Okay, just start off by grounding first, right? And then so on and so forth with the rest of this guided meditation. And as soon as we completed this particular meditation, she paused, and I go, so how's it going over there? And she says, "Joe, it's quiet." She'd been dealing with this so long, and she'd been dealing with so much energy overwhelm all her life, that for once it finally got quiet, right? And so that's just another example of instant validation where just like Joanne or Trish, each one of you have your own unique challenges. The question is, what if just like them, you got immediate feedback and validation from an experienced mentor or coach who could help answer these questions for you, who can guide you through to what to do or what to do next, or to answer these questions that you have, like what does it mean, or what do I do next, or how, right? How? So that's why I say validation is the most important ingredient here. And it's what I mentioned in yesterday's video that would be almost impossible to cover in my book, or any book really, about taking your unique experience and giving you direct feedback, personal feedback on what you're going through. Is all this making sense? All right, so if you have some unique experiences, feel free to share those below. I read every single comment there. So now, like I said in previous videos, like building a new home, you got to start with the proper foundational tools. All right, and that's where this Unlock Your Sixth Sense Breakthrough Challenge comes in, okay? You get the foundational tools and you get the validation you seek, and so that you can get the instant feedback and giving you access to move on, right? It gives you that access that once you get the feedback, you get the access to move on to higher and higher heights. At this point, allow me to show you exactly what this breakthrough challenge covers. So are you ready here? All right. So here you go. The challenge itself is 6 days long. It's a mix of recorded videos you can watch anywhere, anytime. Plus, in order to give you the feedback, validation, and attention that you need, you also have a chance each day to participate in a live group session with me. So here you can ask all your burning questions, and you get to be part of a community. You get to see what they're up to and what questions they're asking. And that in itself, getting your questions answered, knowing that you're not the only one, that's when you get the validation that you need. And then from there, you can level up your abilities even more as we go day by day by day through each step of the challenge. Plus, there's going to be a private student-only Facebook group where you could post your questions if you can't wait, right? If you can't wait till the live training. And I'll answer your question usually within hours, right? Since you're going to be getting my highest and fullest attention if you sign up. And as I just mentioned, you learn the basic foundational tools to unlocking your natural psychic gifts or your sixth sense. So here's what I mean. Here's what we actually cover each day now. So day 1, grounding. So you'll learn this most important tool for your psychic tool belt for any kind of energy work. Skip this step and you risk going back to square one in your development. And actually, you can get access right now, okay, to this meditation as a free sample. And in the description, I put a link there. Go ahead and click on that link in the description to get this MP3 delivered right to your messenger inbox. So that's day one. Day two is where you start to explore energy. All right, so now that you're grounded, we can explore energy, and you learn to fine-tune your awareness by learning about 3 distinct types of energies. And this is so that energies don't feel like one just big blob of overwhelm, which many of you are reporting. And many of you are just overwhelmed right now, right? Overwhelmed with all this energy coming at you. And part of the skill of being a psychic, intuitive, or even a healer is that when you can start to get the nuance, right? The nuance of the different energies, that's when you start to elevate and start to use your psychic gifts in a way that you can move on to even higher heights here that I keep talking about. And that's just day two. Day three, you learn about your energy field, or otherwise known as your aura. And when you clear your aura, it's like unclouding your psychic perceptions, your psychic space, which enables you to feel less heavy as a result. Right? So that's where a lot of this overwhelm comes in, because a lot of this foreign energy is in your space. And so on this day, we also cover psychic protection. All right? So your aura is your space, right? So you need to learn how to protect that space. And here we learn how to get other people's energies out and how to keep them out of your space. So that's day three. Now day four, this is where it's a fun day. Here's where you get to activate your third eye. And on this day, you learn the keys to unlocking the special energy center, the sixth chakra. Okay, and you'll learn, I'll give you a preview of chakras, and you could also find that in my book. But no matter what your natural, intuitive, and psychic gifts are, we're going to have fun and you're going to learn how to activate your third eye. And just know that the previous 3 days were all about setting you up for this. All right. And like I said, it's super fun to get to the stage, which leads to day 5. By this point, right, if you've been following along, if you've been watching the videos and doing the meditations, right? And these are really simple and easy to follow meditations, right? You just listen to my voice, literally just listen to my voice and follow along. By this point, if you've been following along, you're ready to read energy. And anyone, I'm telling you, anyone can do this, including you. And I will show you exactly how on day 5. Now, come day 6, this is a live practice day, right? And what I'll do is I'm going to be reading the public on Facebook. I'll do a Facebook Live. And you'll have a chance to read along with me, right? So don't worry, you're not going to have to type anything or actually say anything. But how it'll work is you get to watch me in action as I do a live public reading. And you'll see me in action. You get to learn by example. And as I read, you can read along right with me if you wish. Right? And it's lots of fun. If you see the same messages, great. If you don't worry about that. That's perfectly fine too. And the reason why it's perfectly fine is because I'm looking at it from this angle and you're probably looking at it from that angle, right? So if you see something the same or see something different, the key here on day 6 is that you get to practice, right? And in the previous videos, I talk about one of the 3 keys is you need to practice. Now, there's bonus training. Okay, so once you get to day 6, once you get up to this point, the obvious next question is, what's next? Right? So I have these foundational tools. What's next? So I'll show you exactly what you can do with your gifts. And this is especially great for those who want to use your gifts for some greater good. Maybe you want to help other people. Maybe you want to do this professionally someday. Or, for those of you, if you're just like me, you just want to have that higher sense of achievement. All right? So that's what I cover on this bonus training. And that's the 6-day challenge, right? So really, to sum up, you go from wondering how to hone your gifts to getting these basic foundational tools and validation to where you can actually now start to channel your abilities to start to read and work with energy. That's the main goal. And this really does set you up with the tools that you need so that if you want to develop your gifts further, like even in my more advanced programs, then really, it really just sets you up so there's no limit, right? There's no limit to the levels of awareness you can achieve. So how's all this sounding now? Are you excited? Does this scare you a little bit? Are you nervous? Or, do you feel like you could actually do this? Now, many of you have been asking me questions either in the comments or during one-on-one phone calls or even on private messaging. So I'd like to take a moment now to address those questions. So here's the first question. Can I really do this? Can I really do this, right? And when I saw this question, actually, this particular question came from a phone call that I had with someone. And she asked this question. I was actually really surprised when she said this, when she asked this. And the funny thing with her is, like, she was telling me this story. It's like, oh, I see beings, I get these signs, and I can see energy. And she was telling me that all this stuff that's opening up for her already, even without the training, right? But she asked this question, like, can I really do this? Can I really do this training? And I was like, wow, I get it, right? Maybe right now you're not confident, but this is exactly why I put this challenge together. Does that make sense? So, rather than you just have to jump right into my more advanced programs, this challenge is like a mini stepping stone. So that, as you're stepping day by day by day across these stepping stones, it helps you to build that confidence to getting you the validation you need. So the answer to this question, can you really do this? The answer is yes, you can totally do this. All right, so the next question. Don't you have to be a natural born psychic to do this? And can someone develop their sixth sense who has never experienced much psychic phenomena before? All right, so these questions are for more, the more curious or the beginner intuitives. And so the question, do you have to be a natural born psychic? The answer is definitely no, not at all. As a matter of fact, many of my beginner psychic students often read from a place of innocence in a way, right? It's that beginner mind that actually helps you. And I always say this, and I teach this in my book, and I teach this in my programs, explore this world of energy like you're in kindergarten, right? Like a child who just loves to explore and isn't afraid to make mistakes. And, being a beginner, just like being in kindergarten, it has its advantages, right? You don't worry about messing up. You just go, right? Just like a child, you just go for it. All right, so next question. How do I learn to trust my abilities? All right, so I get this question a lot. And for many of you, you're sitting there all alone. Okay, so that's one thing. No one really to speak to about all this, right? So you're wondering, you're overthinking, right? Just like I mentioned in the other videos. And really, what you're missing is that key ingredient that I covered today, and that is the validation, right? So how do you learn to trust your abilities? Well, first is, trust, right? Trust it's no accident that you're getting these messages in the first place. And if you're still stuck, then finding a mentor or a guide who's been there, done that, and has worked with other students to validate your experience, right? And someone who can give you that feedback, it's just so necessary. And all of that, right? All of the above, along with practicing, right? Which is what this Breakthrough Challenge gives you the opportunity to do just that. You get to practice. All right, so that's how you can trust your intuition more. A couple more questions here. How do I know the psychic stuff is not just coincidence? How do I even know if this is real? Look, my video, I have a video, it's called Are Your Psychic Abilities Waking Up? and I'll show you a screenshot here. That launched just 3 weeks ago as of this recording, and it already has 19,000 views. Right, my other video, Seeing the Signs, right, Are You Seeing the Signs video? That video has over 13,000 views. All right, so people, and people are commenting on these videos left and right about seeing the same signs. They're getting these premonitions, they're getting contacted by spirit, and many are telling almost exactly the same stories, right? These are strangers, they've never met each other. And with the feedback from my thousands of readers now, I get emails, people private message me. What I find, it's amazing how many people all across the planet are waking up to this, right? All sharing the same thing. And, even Albert Einstein, right? Even Albert Einstein trusts his intuition. So is it real? When this many people all have this in common, including Einstein, it's undeniable, don't you think? All right, so anyway, this next question is a good one. Joe, I have your book. Can't I just read it to get what I need? So this is an emphatic yes, okay? My book, Journey of the Awakened Psychic, it teaches you all you need to know, right? It teaches you the 10 steps to unlocking your sixth sense. However, this challenge provides what my book or any other book really can't provide. That is, when something comes up, right? You get some weird energy or some weird message, or you get, something that you can't explain yourself, right? Even just the other day, someone asked me, I feel like there's like a weird cord behind me. What is that, right? They're meditating and there's this weird cord in back of them, right? So rather than just having this weird cord stay stuck on you, right, you get the validation. So that's the difference between what a book can and can't provide you. Okay, so yes, my book is awesome to give you the tools, but if you really want to shortcut your way to psychic success and reach your highest potential even faster, then this upcoming Breakthrough Challenge is definitely a good start for you. All right, so the last question, which is probably on everyone's mind, how much does this cost? Okay, well, surprise, surprise. I'm going to leave you in suspense with that one until we officially launch tomorrow. But I will say this, my goal is to make this work as accessible to as many people as possible. It's why I give away my book, it's why I film these videos, and it's why I give people a pathway, right, that they didn't even know existed. So the real question to ask yourself is this, what would it really cost? How much would it really cost you to not take the challenge, right? What would you be missing out on? And what would it be like for you to not reach your highest potential? Or worse yet, what would it cost you to keep wondering? I keep getting these signs. What do they mean? I'm so overwhelmed. I'm such an empath. Even my kids are starting to be this way. How do I help them? What do I do next? So look, I get it, right? And this is why I do the work that I do. It's why I'm offering this Breakthrough Challenge in the first place. So if you're receiving signs, weird forewarnings, or overwhelmed with energy, right? When you join this challenge, here's where you can discover, right, how you can unlock your psychic gifts within, heighten your intuition, and tap into your true potential. You get to do all this all without feeling blocked, confused, overwhelmed. And if you do get there, you get the validation and the feedback you need as you journey through this 6-day challenge. All right, so with all that, wouldn't that be worth the minimal investment? All right, so how much is this investment? Well, I don't want to give it to you all the way today, right? I don't want to give it all the way today. So stay tuned, right? Stay tuned till tomorrow's launch video. And if you haven't already, go ahead and click on the link in the description of this video to get on the early bird notification list. Right? As soon as it launched, I'm going to blast out all these messages via email, IM, or even on this Facebook group or page, depending on where you're at now. right? So you get that notification. Okay, so now here's the last thing I want to share with you. There are so many awakening intuitives, psychics, empaths, healers, other light warriors out there, just like you. And as you saw, combined total, there's over 33 or 32,000 views on my videos, not to mention this other video on YouTube that I posted about, waking up your third eye. And that one itself has over 30,000 views. And yet, all of those people, out of all those people, not everyone decides to really go down this path to develop their psychic and intuitive gifts. And even the ones that do decide, right, they're saying to themselves, I got to do this. I got to do this. But for some reason, they wait, right? They hesitate. They tell themselves, okay, when I'm ready, then I'll do it. The funny thing is this: the universe has likely been nagging you, right? Nagging you for years even, that this is a path that you must explore. And even I tell that in from my own story in my book, right? Like there's something like, I just got to explore this, right? So is that you, right? You're someone that you got to explore this, like there's something nagging at you. And so the question becomes, when will you actually be ready, right? And when will you actually be ready unless you actually take the leap? It's the difference between reading about how to balance on a bike and actually getting on the bike and just start riding, right? And yes, you may stumble and fall and, fall off the bike, right? But that's life, isn't it? And, no one told you that you have to be born and then learn to walk perfectly the next day, right? No, you literally took baby steps. And just like what the 6-day challenge provides, you took it one step at a time, all right? And so if you're not ready, you're not ready. And I respect that. I respect your decision. But if you're in that space in between, right, that in-between space, well, in some religious and spiritual traditions, it's like that choice of being between heaven or earth, right? But if you don't choose, then it's like being in that middle space. It's like being in purgatory, right? And so, being in that stuck in the middle space, that's no fun, right? So as a coach, as a teacher, as a mentor, what I say is just choose, right? But whatever you choose, just choose powerfully. And just know, a teacher of mine once told me, she said, it really is like that 1% of people who really choose to pursue this kind of work. And so the question is, are you part of that 1%? Now, I'm not saying you'll become a professional psychic like me, but you can still use your gifts to make a positive impact for yourself, to help others, to maybe make more confident life choices using your intuition, or just making a positive spiritual impact that benefits everyone. And if you're one of these people, right, who wants to take your abilities to the highest heights or even just to take that next step, then I'd love to work with you. All right? So what are the exact next steps? Well, go ahead and be on the lookout for tomorrow's announcement for when the sign up officially opens. And I'll keep it open, just so you know, I'll keep it open only for a few days, and that's it. And, that's not just a marketing gimmick or marketing hocus pocus. The challenge, right, officially launches on August 5th, right? So the sign-up period indeed is limited. And I don't know when the next challenge will be. At the moment, there's nothing on my calendar. And I still have my advanced programs I need to take care of. And so I need to make sure I don't, spread myself out too thin, right? So the honest answer, I don't know when the next challenge will be. With that, be on the lookout, right? Be on the lookout either here on the group, messenger, email for the official launch announcement. Then once you get that announcement, click on the link, sign up, go ahead and invest, block off your calendars, tell others you're going to be busy taking steps towards your highest potential. And once you do that, then I'll see you on the other side. All right. Thanks for watching. Many blessings to you and many blessings on your path. Bye now.